Hey, Chicago, what do you say? Coming at you live on this Sunnyside Summer Thursday. It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Podcast. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HI. CHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders. How about that walk-off win? You want to talk about unexpected? First of all,
1-0 in the Motorola era.
You're not bringing out the beer bat after that?
No, not doing it yet. Got to win the series.
Undefeated, the Motorola Chicago Cubs in that jersey with the giant patch on their sleeve. We'll talk about that later.
Baby.
Palatine Pounder. All he does is walk off the Cardinals. That's all he does.
Oh, my God. That was, okay, so legitimately, there's absolutely no way anyone felt like they were making the comeback.
I wonder what the line was if you went online and tried to take the Cubs with 2 outs in the ninth.
The odds had been great. Well, the thing is that it all started because Cody Bellinger hit that solo shot.
Which I thought was just going to be the full rally.
Right, yeah, I was like
everybody else.
The inevitable fake rally, the inevitable 1-run loss. And then, of all people, it's Nico Hoerner and Dansby Swanson who tie the game. Nico Hoerner, line drive up the middle, steals second, was this close to being out.
Yeah.
So much that the Cardinals challenged it. Then Swanson swings
down to his last strike.
He was down 0-2, worked the count, then shoots one to left, and then drives home Hoerner. Swanson, who we have all sat here and criticized plenty all season, who's had a terrible season, and he ties the game. And then bold move by Craig Counsell to pinch hit Tauchman for PCA.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't get the hit, then you don't have PCA to go out to center for extra innings.
Sure.
Tauchman comes up 99 at the top of the zone. He's struggled with fastballs all season, and he shoots it down the left field line for the game-winning hit. Walk-off. Wrigley erupts, and I'm not saying we're back, but I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to sleep tonight feeling just a little bit delusional. Just listen, this season has been so frustrating and just not fun. This is far and away the most fun win of the year. There's nothing that rivals it. This is the best fun win of the season, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to go to Wrigley tomorrow in left field with Braggs on his crutches, and I'm going to try and hope and will this team to 3 straight wins. So we're starting there. And all I know, at the very least, you're hurting the Cardinals' chances of making the playoffs. And I've watched the Cubs my entire life, and I've done a lot of hate watching, all right? So I know how to hate watch, and I know how to just absolutely be the most insufferable hate watcher.
And
right?
you know how to hold a grudge.
I do know how to hold a grudge.
Oh, yeah.
All right? So at the very least, I'm here to watch the Cardinals buy at the deadline and not make the playoffs like the Cubs last year.
Charlie the Bacon Guy says, hey, boys, big win. Thanks to everybody that's joining the live YouTube chat. We appreciate all of you. I would argue that it wasn't super bold pinch hitting Tauchman because of the at-bat that you had seen the last time with PCA. He just looked overmatched. And
I'm thinking more about it defensively.
You just needed a professional at-bat there, and that's what you get with Tauchman. Think about it. The last 2 years, the 4 most exciting wins, I would say, in the last 2 years of Cubs baseball were walking off the White Sox twice at Wrigley Field and walking off the Cardinals twice. Once with the catch in St. Louis, Tauchman, and now Tauchman with a 3-run rally against an all-star closer. Jesse Rogers tweeted out an ESPN stat they had lost 53 straight when trailing by multiple runs in the 9th inning or later, including 40 games this year. They come back and win it.
As
unlikely as you could get right there. We had the recap written.
And Helsley is one of the best closers in the game. He leads baseball in saves last I checked.
He's an all-star.
He's awesome. And I have said this. I didn't tweet it or anything, but you and Joey can both confirm that I said this going in the 9th inning. I said it. I've said it multiple times at home that the Cubs have scored off Helsley this year. They did it a few times in St. Louis, but they were down too much, and he still got the saves in those games.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've seen them score off this guy. They can do it.
I confirm.
And
Cody did say that.
I did. And so I didn't really believe it was going to happen, but I've seen them score runs off him. As good as he is, I've seen them score runs. This offense that we've sat here and criticized and shit on all season, I've seen this offense do it. So to me, like the fact that they did it all with Horner and Swanson and Tauchman, basically outside of Bellinger hitting the homer, like, I don't know. It was one of those, like, I just found myself holding my hands on my head like, I can't believe that this just happened. Like,
remember we have the slide T-shirt we were selling, the slide in the end zone. Do we need a Tauchman one now?
Just like with his hands.
No shirt? Yeah,
no shirt. Him doing the interview with Elise
If I had a better body, I'd be shirts off for this show, or if they were over 500, but you're getting neither.
I'll give credit to Michael Cerami from Bleacher Nation for this, but he tweeted the picture of Tauchman doing the interview with Elise Miniker, and he's just like slicking his hair back after he getting the Gatorade dumped on him or whatever, and the caption was like sensual baseball. But it
looked like an Irish Spring commercial or something. It looked like he was taking a shower during the end of game. Listen, I didn't think the Bellinger homer was going to mean anything. It meant a lot.
I didn't either.
Meant a lot.
And credit to him. Ever since he's come back from the injured list, which just been a few games, that's his second homer since coming off the injured list, and he's been igniting the Cubs offense in many ways. I mean, they scored 13 runs yesterday. Now they score 5 today.
What did they have? Like 5 hits going into the 9th inning?
Yeah. The offense
was another night of just other than Seya's home run, it was like, there we go.
Well, going into the 9th inning, we also said something along the lines of, remember when we said last night, over under 2.5 runs?
Yeah.
Like the offense for the large majority of this game did exactly what me and Luke thought it would, and then just an even more improbable thing happened to not only win the game, but how they won the game. It's just, I don't know. I'll say this, I'm happy for Dansby. Like, he's had such a tough season, and like that can only do wonders for his confidence going forward. So I'm interested to see how he plays, these next handful of games, the rest of this weekend. I do think he's had better at-bats over the last couple weeks, but the numbers don't show it. He's still got an OPS under 650, whatever. Like, he's gotta do more for sure. But I hope this is a sign of good things to come for him, because they need him to be better. And he showed up when they absolutely needed it. He literally tied the game with, 2 outs in the 9th inning? Like, he deserves a lot of credit. So, and I'll give credit when it's due.
Motorola Cubs have never lost to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Never. Undefeated. Nice. We didn't even plan that.
Undefeated. So last year, it was the catch in the win against the Cardinals that convinced Jed Hoyer to go ahead and buy and trust in the team and go for it. Will this win somehow be the way that the Cubs find a way in the spark they needed, Cody, to go from 6 to maybe 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 games out in the wild card? Is it going to turn around the whole season? Is this the moment that captures Cubs fandom all at one time and everything comes together right? And is this the moment we look back at the end of the season and we say, it was naked Tauchman that sent us into the postseason?
Brother, don't let me talk myself into it, okay? Don't let me talk myself into it. It's one game. I know. Godfather's he's being a Debbie Downer as always in the chat.
Come on, have fun for one night,
He doesn't want us to have any fun. I get it. And honestly, they really don't deserve it, but I am human. All right. Let me be human and just
Everybody's
enjoy
saying
it.
no. Everybody was like, no.
Just let me enjoy it, okay? Just let me enjoy it. But yeah, no, they got to show more. Realistically, if there is going to be some magic, they do need to win this series. They need to at least start by winning this series, okay? They have to at least start by winning this series.
How does this chat not get me yet? They're like, what is he doing? This delusion. He's doing Cody's delusional bit. Don't you realize yet that half of what I do is egg on Cody?
Yeah.
Don't you realize that half of what I do is egg on Ryan every once in a while? Of course I don't think it's going to turn the season around.
No, you don't.
If there's one person that doesn't believe it's going to turn anything around, it's this guy.
Yeah, it's you. And as you should. Stick to your
But I'm still going to enjoy it. It was still fun.
It was a fun game.
It was still fun to watch him beat the Cardinals. It was still fun baseball, and it beats the alternative where you're sitting there going, another loss to the Cardinals. Another loss to the Cardinals. We got some super chats, Joey. Some super chats we want to read tonight.
No super chats?
No super chats, just hot chats coming in.
Just hot chats. I like Amanda's comment that she's all up in the delusion with me. She says Yelich out for the year. Joey, you just scrolled past it right there. Yelich is out for the year for the Brewers, right? If those young kids don't step up, we can catch them. So that's real delusion right there, Amanda. However, if they do catch him, I will remember this moment and we'll give you all the credit. I'll give you all the credit, Amanda, for having this level of delusion.
Yeah, DFW Susie says Mike Tauchman and the tearaway uni was the moment it all turned around. Listen, we've seen David Bodie with the tearaway jersey. We've seen Christopher Morel with the tearaway jersey, and now Tauchman, the tearaway jersey.
Got some dollar bills for Tauchman, is what she said.
Poor Elise Medeker didn't even know what to ask. He's standing there. He just keeps running his hands through his hair. The water's flying everywhere. It was comical.
David Snyder, everyone a couple days ago was all gloom and doom.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been like that all season, David. But then he says, hey, wait, on Belly and Paredes effect, it's gonna happen. Sweep the cards and then playoff push. Mm-hmm. You ready, Cody?
Here it comes. Okay. Here it comes.
I think we can all agree with this. Like, the offense certainly looks better with Cody Bellinger back in the lineup. And even though Paredes went 0 for 4 tonight, he still is a bigger threat in the lineup than Morel had been. In these few games that we've seen the both of them in the lineup. 13 runs yesterday, and 5 runs tonight. So.
It looks better with Bellinger in the lineup, and it looks better when Bellinger and Seya are hitting home runs. We'll get to the Seya home run in a bit, but that was also a big moment in the game, a blast earlier that put the Cubs ahead. And, of course, the response was the tough part, because Wynn hits that home run, you're like, this is just another game.
Yeah.
I was ready to come in here and say this. We can just rerun an old show. Don't worry about it, guys.
Yeah.
See if the chat notices it's an old show.
Right. But
it wasn't. 5-4 Cubs win. Jared Willis, by the way, is at Wrigley Field. He's getting interviews. He's going to join us sometime in the show before we check out. We'll find out what they said in the clubhouse, what Craig Counsell said, if Tauchman got a shirt back on, or if everybody's just running around now with their shirts off. We'll get to all that in just a second. But first, I want to tell you about my friends at Circa Sportsbook.
I can only imagine the odds if you live bet the Cubs at the beginning of the ninth inning.
The beginning of the ninth inning?
Before Bellinger
it had to be
homer.
like plus 600, right?
Something like that. Maybe even more.
To score, like that offense, to score against that guy,
yeah.
After what they had done in this game, I would say, it would have been really, you would have made a lot of dough. And by the way, Circa is the place that gives you what? Tight money line splits. Circa Sports does not limit players based on their winnings. Every player has the same limits, unlike other books who do limit winning players. They actually encourage bettors to download and explore all sports betting apps available. Go ahead and compare the lines from every sports book. You'll find out why Circa is the best. And they also have real people behind the Circa Sports brand who are there to resolve issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books who use those miserable chatbots. Is there anything worse than a chatbot? All aspects of the app are being run by the same team that runs the main Circa Sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Joey's been there.
I've been
a couple times. You've been there.
I love it.
Download the Circa Sports Illinois app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for Circa events like watch parties and tailgates. And, of course, tomorrow, Friday 120 Club. Circa's there with us all the time, supporting us. If you or someone you know may have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. Text GAMB to 833-234 or visit areyoureallywinning.com. I'm a little surprised we don't have a Blue Moon beer bat chug, but Cody's still holding out on that. He says even a win like this, you got to earn it. But let me tell you, if you were doing it, you'd be doing it with a Blue Moon. Some beers can say they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball just go together, and no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon was created at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado, the natural choice for all season long, summertime shy. Are you kidding me? I think we hit 90-something today again. It was hot. It was humid, and what a way to just cool off. I bet there's some people sitting on their front porch tonight just riding the swing, taking down a couple of Blue Moons before they cash in for the night. In
this weather, perfect.
Nice. Maybe a thunderstorm tonight. Go back out there, grab another Blue Moon, watch the storm.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing beats watching baseball, especially beating the Cardinals or walking them off, than doing it with a Blue Moon in your hand. Hand Mike Tauchman a Blue Moon. Somebody get it done. Blue Moon was brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for a season. A beer this good only comes around once in a Blue Moon, but you can enjoy it all season long and all year long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO to see your delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Guys, this is it. This is the season of pork. That's what I'm saying. Seya Suzuki provided the power for tonight's game, presented by the Illinois pork producers. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. Sixth inning, Seya at the plate. He cranks the go-ahead home run. His 16th of the season. Cody, it went 459 feet. Longest by the Cubs this season, longest of his career. He's up to 16 homers, which puts him second on the team because Morel has moved on, now has 20 overall when he combines them. But Happ is at 17, Seya at 16. You got Bush at 13. I believe Bellinger now has 11. What do you think? You want to adjust your numbers? How many get to 20? It sure looks like Happ will get to 20. It sure looks like Seya will get to 20. Bush would have to hit 7 more. Or Belly would have to get really hot.
Well, he's got 2 home runs and hasn't even been back a week yet. So you never know. We've seen him get hot.
That's true.
You know? I was the one who said that they would. I think you and Ryan both sat here and said that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
and mine was strictly on because I'm not putting money down. And it was just purely based on hope and delusion. But, yeah, I mean, Seya, we sit here and in some ways I feel like sometimes, it comes off as slander or criticism. But Seya's a really good baseball player. He's really good. He really is. He's definitely a better than average offensive player. Yeah. Yes. Sure. His defense
has been. I feel about the defense.
Yeah. And I've started to go to your side a little bit more on the defense. The thing about the defense this year is just like it's unexplainable because year one, we gave him a little bit of a pass because he never played here before. He never played in any of the other parks. Year two, I felt like it was improved. And now this year, it feels like it's gone back. Anyway, the point is, as a hitter, let's just talk offense. I think he's a really good hitter. And I think we can all confidently sit here and say that he's not a star, superstar, anything like that. But he's a really good hitter. And, yeah, I mean, that home run shows the kind of power that guy has. 459 feet? Shohei Ohtani's doing that on a regular basis, So when you see one of your own guys
we almost
do that,
had him.
We almost did. But The point is that, it's not every home run hitter is hitting them 450 feet, So
Well, I think we just got a football super chat from Dr. Voodoo. Maybe
wrong
Dr.
show, Voodoo.
Oh, he's going back and forth. Are we stealing away Bears viewers now? Is that what we're doing?
I'm not sure what's going on with that, but
we will take it. Dr. Voodoo, if you're watching us and you want to talk a little Bears, he says Velas, Pettis, or Scott, who are you going to give the preseason start to? Anyways,
I'm going to Dr. Voodoo. I'm going to go tell the Bears guys that you have written this and make sure that it gets read on the show.
Yeah, it'll get read on the show.
Yeah.
How they're in Studio A and we're in Studio B after a big regular season win over the Cardinals, I don't know, but that's what happened. We don't,
You know what? Actually, that's a good point. Hit the like button if you think that we should have kicked the Bears out of Studio A in the middle of their show, walked on and said, Mike Tauchman hit a walk-off, get up.
I think we should have said, hey, Carm, hut, take a hike, right? Get out of here.
I would have thought a little bit differently if any of the starters played.
Braggs, take your crutches.
No. Anyway.
Call me when you own the Brewers.
I like what John's saying, though. Studio B for Belly.
Oh, I like that.
Anyway, again, and
Meet the Birds,
Robert, I
Studio
see your
B for
comment,
Beat the Birds.
man. I see your comment, Robert. Like, come on, Cody, say his defense has questions. I'm not saying it doesn't have questions. I'm just saying, sure, as a full baseball player, I guess there's definitely better than some.
But today we're being positive. Tonight we're going to be positive, right? I'm the one that I pointed it out, and that was not nice.
I'm not even trying to be positive. I'm objectively saying that he's a good baseball player. I just don't think you can put him in the stars or superstar category, But, when you hit a 450-foot bomb, it makes you open your eyes a little bit, makes you raise an eyebrow. Like, I don't know. He's been really good of late, and who knows? Maybe he goes on that 2-month heater like he did last year.
Isn't there somebody we can do? Brendan, isn't he pounding the stats somewhere? Isn't somebody cranking the stats? One of the.
Do I need to make a call to Brendan?
Yeah, like what's the Cubs record when they hit two or more homers in a game
this season?
Yeah,
let me see if I can.
It's got to.
With Brendan,
it's got to be good, right? That's what I just keep saying. Like, they need home run power, and I know that may seem counterproductive to trade Morel, but that's what you're looking at. And if Bellinger is here next year, and PCA is starting in center field, then you're going to have to find different ways to mix and match it. It's not going to be taking Bellinger. Like, to me, you'd probably start looking at Seya out of right field, and Seya is your DH.
Yeah, and I've said that because we've talked about Seya's defense so much, but Belly, he won his Gold Glove was actually, I believe, won in right field, not center field. So he's a better corner outfielder. We know how hard it is to play outfield at Wrigley Field, specifically right field. And, when we get there, I am intrigued.
Bush has gotten better at first. Normally, I would just say, well, just take Bush and put him at DH. But now, maybe that you're going to try to figure out Mo Baller and all those things, too.
The thing is like, if Belly goes on a 2-month heater, plays like this for 2 months, like, maybe he does end up opting out.
Sure,
I don't know.
right.
I don't know. I really don't know. And if he doesn't opt out, maybe his trade values increase and, the Cubs can consider moving him. I'm not sure what lane I am on that, but whatever. The point is that with the outfield situation, it's not the situation that it's in. It's not a bad situation. Having guys like PCA and Belly and Happ and Suzuki, it's not a bad thing. The only reason, and someone in the chat said something about Tauchman and how like he was on the realm of keeping Tauchman because of things like this, and like that's fine, great. And sure, like he gives you a gray at bat off the bench. It's just like if you have Tauchman too, that's 5 outfielders on your roster, and so it seems like it's too many. Might take up an extra spot that you could use for, a guy like Mo Baller, But I don't know, but.
We'll worry about it this offseason. We're going to have a lot of time to talk about it.
Right,
I see Rhonda says we need a closer. Speaking of closers, Adbert Alzolay heading for arm surgery. Cubs not really sure what kind yet. I guess the question is his season the most disappointing of any individual Cubs player this season? Right? Like, and we could talk about that for just a few minutes. I don't want to bring down the show too much, but first of all, it's disappointing. And I would say I am concerned that the Cubs have mishandled this.
Yeah, kind of.
Because the first time this came up was last year. He had 22 saves and 25 chances last year. None after August 29th when he had a forearm strain pop up.
Yeah, because he got hurt and he missed all of September.
Only played in 5 more games.
Yeah.
Okay?
Basically,
so then we went through an offseason, and we all know how this season went. 4 blown saves right out of the gate in 18 games. Yeah. He didn't seem like the same guy. He was hit around a lot late in the season, especially in those last. Had the Cubs, should they have found something? Should he have had surgery last offseason?
In this instance, and I've yelled at the Cubs.
I don't know.
I've yelled at the Cubs a lot, like regarding this type of thing, right? I went on a rant about having Nico sit on the bench for 9 games, so you played a man down. They did it with Dansby earlier this year, where he played for 2 weeks hurt, and then they put him on the injured list.
Jed's admitted that multiple times. Like, I was playing hurt, it probably threw off his swing, and he got into some bad habits, maybe hitting. Right. It's like, okay, well.
Right. In this situation, of course, there's blame on the Cubs, I think. But I also feel like Adbert deserves some blame too, because if things don't feel right, then why are you out there trying to do what you're paid to do, which was be the closer for this team? So, I don't know all the ins and outs of all of it. Obviously, I'm looking at it from the outside perspective, but you went into an offseason after you came back from that strain, and we all just thought you were healthy. And then how this season has played out to this point, it seems like, you were hurt in spring training. You were hurt at the beginning of the year. Like, it just feels like there's blame to both sides on this. Like he wanted to help the team so much, and he thought if he had surgery of some sorts that he was going to, miss the entire year. Well, and then it turned out that he missed basically the entire year. And yes, I would agree with, or I would answer that question that you asked about, is he the most disappointing player of the season? Yes, because as Godfather points out all the time, like with the fact of all these blown saves, even if they just blown half of them, they'd probably at least be 500 right now, right? The fact that he went into the season with the expectation of closing games, and he has given them virtually nothing. To me, he has been the most disappointing. I can't fault him too much on the injury since I don't know all the ins and outs and how. Right,
and injuries are a different thing. If a guy's hurt, a guy's hurt. I will say you could, in my opinion, you could answer that with a lot of different names. Sure. While closer has been a problem, and we do know that he has been injured for some of it, for sure. Yeah. Parts of Bellinger's season, while he's had a good season, he hasn't had a great season. Obviously, Morel's season was greatly disappointing, not because he didn't hit at all. It's he didn't take the next step, and this team desperately needed him to take the next step. He didn't take the step defensively. He didn't really take the step offensively. He took a step back on both of them, right? Yeah. Dansby's had a disappointing season up to this point. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different guys. It's like Happ and Bush are the two guys you can say not disappointed. And then you go into some of the pitchers, and you can say, obviously, you're not disappointed in them. I'm not disappointed in Tyone. I'm not disappointed in Shota. I'm not disappointed in Steele. But there's plenty of position players that I could put on that list that I would say disappointing. Most disappointing injury, that probably is Alzolay. The Merriweather injury's been difficult too.
Yeah,
they counted on him to be their backup plan too.
Yeah.
And frankly, you could say Neris has been somewhat disappointing too, as their only
other option.
Well, and their only like off-season addition to that bullpen that really was like, okay, this is how we're going to solidify it.
As far as like a free agent.
Right, a free agent.
They tried to piece it with like Colton Brewer too and a few other dudes.
Right. So we are waiting on Jared Willis is going to join us from beautiful historic Wrigley Field, where he is working the clubhouse in just a minute. The Cubs win, comeback fashion, 3 runs in the 9th inning. But first, our guy Cody is going to tell you about his friends at Prize Picks.
Yes, Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. Get in on the excitement and win up to 100 times your cash with the summer games on Prize Picks. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 while watching Team USA rack up the gold medals this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup of players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, and more in as little as 60 seconds. It's really that easy. Luke, even you can figure it out with the technology problems you have.
That's not. What a shot that is for no reason whatsoever.
Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, like I said, and you'll be locked in. All right. Tonight you could have had hits for Swanson, Warner, maybe Seya Suzuki, Shota Imanaga, 7 strikeouts. I believe his line on Prize Picks was 5.5. I believe, if I remember correctly, he ended up having 7. And yeah, I mean, you could have done a home run entry with who the guys who hit homers? Seya,
Bellinger,
Mason Wynn, and Bellinger.
Yeah,
and Goldschmidt. If you had those four, if you had those 4 guys in your Prize Picks entry to hit homers, and you just put $10 on it, you aren't watching this show. You're on your way to like some island somewhere because you made a lot of money. All right. You can be that lucky person. You can do it. All right. All you got to do is download the app today and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Hey guys, we got the big Friday 120 Club coming up. Ready for that?
I'm ready.
You were going to be just there. A shell of you was going to be there if they lost that game. But now Cody might be shirts off.
He might
have Bellinger written across his chest.
No, that's Braggs' thing.
Well, we know Braggs will be shirtless. He'll be the guy with 2 crutches and no shirt.
If they had lost, I'd just be walking around with the sign that I've been making all night, and I've been trying to make it perfect. I'm not even finished with it, but whenever we're done with the show, I'm going to go back into our office and
credit to me for coming up with the sign.
You're
doing the artwork.
Luke does deserve some
it's
credit.
a good one.
Yes,
it's a good one. I think.
But
we had some Tommy Pham angles. We just didn't go there. Nobody wants.
And it
to
has
get
nothing
slapped.
to do with Jim Edmonds, so you don't have to think about that. But I thought about it. But I already attacked him personally, so I think I'll just let it go.
Yeah, you sort of did. And by the way, so Friday 120 Club, you guys meet at Murphy's.
10 a.m.
Then you go to the game. Everybody get your own ticket. Show up in your Friday 120 Club shirt, which you can get at allchgo.com. More and more of those start.
Yeah. I believe my guy or our guy, Jake Banowski.
Yeah.
The son of the dad who had all the K signs at Kerry
His
Wood's
dad
20
was the
strikeout game.
K-sign guy.
He tweeted about, or he tagged me in a tweet related to Friday 120 Club. So I think he's coming tomorrow. And then another guy, his name's Blake from 6 Point Sports.
Nice.
He's going to come hang out with us too. He DM'd me about coming. So I just told him to meet at Murphy's at 10 a.m. See you there. Got a great mullet. Can't wait to see it.
And then almost home after the game.
Yeah, and almost home after game. Left field bleachers, 504. Front row, my Thai guy always holds an entire section for us, basically. It's a lot of fun.
My Thai guy. And we'll tell you about the golf tournament we have coming up still. Don't forget, that's later in the show. I'll give you the details about it, but the Cog Hill one's coming up, and that's the cream of the crop. Now,
it's about the Stuckmeyer Classic, as some call it.
Some people do call it that, yes.
Matt and Jeremy are the only other people besides us that call it that. But yeah,
we almost won the tournament last year. We were off by maybe 20 strokes.
And you know what Cody would say to that? Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
That's right. We were right there.
I don't even think we kept score.
Now, we are going to have Jared Willis is looking for a spot. I see him dialing in. I see him looking for a spot.
Oh, he's gone.
And
just disappeared on us.
He's gone. What happened?
We're not sure what's happening. Either Jared is having a little technical difficulty.
I think he's just looking for a spot, maybe.
I think it's possible he's trying to decide if he should take his shirt off or not for this.
He didn't want people to think he was in the toilet like Ryan always.
Right. He's like he was about to sit down. He's like, nope, this looks like stall number 3.
So Sean says he's going to be in New Mexico tomorrow, so can't come to the 120 Club. He's a big 120 guy, but he's going to wear one of his CHGO shirts out west.
Tweet it. Tweet it to us.
Tweet it to us.
Are you ready for Jared?
He's been to a couple of our watch parties too. So
we're ready for Jared. We're ready for Jared.
Here we go.
Confidently looks like he's not in a bathroom.
Yep. This looks more like a storage unit.
Yeah, it really does.
Like he's at one of those long-term storage units.
Yeah.
Can you hear us yet, Jared?
I don't. He can't hear us.
Can't hear us. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get to Jared in a second, but he's been working the clubhouse and he's talked to Craig Counsell as the Cubs come up with a big win. Do I think it's going to lead to anything special? No, I don't think it's going to lead to anything special. But it was just nice for one night to feel like it mattered, especially when it was the first night of football and it was like everybody was talking about a preseason game where not even the second stringers were basically playing. Like Bajent was barely in the game.
We're both wearing Bears shirts.
We're both wearing our Bears shirts. We turned I looked at a couple trees that looked like they were turning colors already, and I was like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
So it was nice to still feel like, yes, it is baseball season, and these games do still matter. And Ryan, of course, by the way, was driving home today.
Oh, yeah, I saw that he tried the Skyline Chili.
He tried the Skyline Chili. Now, we heard nothing after we saw the picture of the Skyline Chili.
Yeah.
Like, he showed us the giant bowl of chili sitting on top of spaghetti with the cheese on top and then a few crackers off to the side, and I just said, your poor car, right? And then we never heard from Ryan again. So we don't know how that drive went.
Yeah.
We don't know how it went.
Someone in the chat saying I'm wrong. I can't see it, though. Because the screen.
You're wrong.
Nick Elias. Cody is wrong. Dansby and Morel had more disappointing seasons. Who did I say was more? Oh, yeah, I did.
Right,
I did.
Jared,
I did say Adbert.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jared's ready.
I mean, those are up there for sure.
Let's give it a shot again. Jared
rank
Willis.
up there.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Jared Willis.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Let's go. And his beard's even closer than normal. So
Right,
we're getting a good look.
I know. What
That
phone do you
like
have?
that's-
You've got the crispest camera shot I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
He looks like
is
he's
a
been in the
sharp-
sun.
Did you put this on portrait mode or something?
Yeah. I went in the bathroom and put on some touch up and whatever. No, my computer is giving me trouble tonight. It's been one of those nights the whole time I've been here. So switched to the old iPhone and ready to roll.
Very nice. Very nice. Obviously, we weren't expecting to be doing a post-game show like this one. We were going to do the same one we do every night where we say, well, they didn't get enough hits and they did this and it was bad and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden they have like the most unthinkable, unlikely ninth inning rally against an all-star closer. What were the vibes like afterwards? Was everybody there with their shirt off, or was it just Tauchman still shirtless in the clubhouse?
No, funnily enough, he had a shirt on, and a bunch of other guys didn't. So I don't know if it was just role reversal there. I tried taking mine off, but I was told put that back on. But
we're taking your credential if you take that shirt off.
Yeah, like for goodness sake, put your shirt back on. No, it was, as you can imagine, there's a lot of excitement, and not just about the game itself, but I think for a team that has had a season that has been as disappointing as this one has been, to have moments like this or to put together a rally like they did in the ninth inning, it feels good. And Tauchman said it. He said, until we're mathematically eliminated, this is how we're going to play. This is what we're going to do. So, we'll see if this momentum carries. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of excitement in the clubhouse after a night like this one.
I mean, just a lot of emotion from Nico, and then when Dansby gets the hit, that's about as excited as I think I've ever seen Dansby Swanson in a Cubs uniform.
I mean, It ranks up there. There was a moment from last year where he scored a run early in the year, and he slid into home, and he did this huge fist pump with the helmet coming off so his hair's out and all that. Like, that was from last year. I think this year, for sure, this has probably been one of the bigger moments for him in terms of showing emotion and stuff like that. I mean, that to me, Jared, that's the biggest moment from Dansby all season.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he's, for a guy who's had a very tough year at the plate, this was a big at-bat. I mean, to still be able to do that. And, he went down 0-2. He was behind in that count and then still worked a quality at-bat and got the hit. That was exactly what they needed. And a lot of credit, and the players talked about it, a lot of credit is due to Nico Horner for stealing second. Because, as Dansby said, he said that changes the whole inning. Because instead of needing 2 hits to get that run, then you just need the 1. So really like a heads-up play for Nico to pull that off. But then, yeah, Dansby, this, I would say, probably the biggest at-bat he's had all season, coming through there to tie the game because it changes changes the whole trajectory. Of course, Tauchman walking it off, but that was Dansby's at bat. That's a really huge one.
Talk through it a little bit when we opened the show. Like he swung at the first two pitches. I think the second one is the pitch that Horner stole second on. Then you go through the whole process of them challenging it. So he's standing around, there's no rhythm, I guess you could say. I know how that plays a factor a little bit in these moments. And then he just, fouled off a bunch of pitches, and next thing you know, he's hitting one out to the grass, and I'm like, I can't believe that this just happened. So he deserves a lot of credit.
Over the glove at third.
Yeah.
Over the glove at third. There were so many ways that this game was close, but to me, they won it with hits, and they won it because they stole a base, and they did the small things, but they hit 2 home runs. And what a difference this lineup is when Bellinger's hitting a home run and when Seya's hitting a home run. Like, changes everything. You see what power can do to a lineup. Like, otherwise it was just 5 hits going into the 9th inning.
Yeah.
But you add another home run into the mix, and all of a sudden you've got yourself back in the ballgame.
Yeah.
Well, especially the Cody Bellinger home run in the 9th inning. I mean, that galvanizes a group, because now you're only down by 1 run, and that's a lot more attainable. That's something that you can put together some hits exactly like they did to get that game-tying run. With one swing to be able to put that run up on the board, that's really, really big. And going back to that Dansby at bat, I mean, Nolan Arenado snagged a ball almost exactly like that earlier in the game. I want to say it was it P. Crow-Armstrong that hit it? I'd have to go back and look, but I might be wrong about that. But I know he snagged one that looked almost exactly like that, and this one just barely missed his glove. So that's a little bit of it too. Sometimes it's just an inch here or there. We say it all the time, but if that ball's half an inch lower, that's an out, and we're having a very different postgame show.
Did we ask about Counsell?
What about Counsell?
Like what he said, like. Did he show any emotion? And in the post game, like, did he say the normal thing? Like, I feel like this is a game that we're gonna, when we look back at the end of the year, no matter what happens, this will probably be the most memorable one that we'll have. Like, there had to be a little bit more from Counsell tonight than we normally are getting.
Yeah, he was. He's Craig Counsell, so the amount of emotion that you're going to get either way is I don't know. You're not, if we're looking for like big excitement from him, it's not going to happen necessarily, but he was happy for sure. He was smiling, laughing, joking with us a little bit, maybe more than usual in a post game, but he was a happy guy. But again, it's Craig Counsell, so the level of emoting is only going to go so far.
All right.
We were on the broadcast of the game, they had just put up the stat that Goldschmidt's having a bad season, but he's got 31 career homers against the Cubs, and seconds later, there it goes. And then he gave up another home run to win later in the game. Did he throw a 54-mile-an-hour curveball late in the game, and what was that about?
Yeah, so, I mean, Counsell, first of all, said, I didn't even know that he had that in his arsenal. He kind of joked about that, and he said, I don't know, he was planning to throw that pitch. But then when we asked Shota about it, he said what he was actually trying to do is he'd hit my fastball, he'd hit my breaking pitch, and so what he wanted to do there was he was purposely trying to throw a ball, is what Shota said, and vary the speed to such an extreme because he said he was trying to set him up for something else after that. But Shota was like, he's such a great hitter, he still roped it out in the outfield for a double. So what are you going to do? But he said it was a strategic attempt to try to set up Goldschmidt up for something that just didn't work.
4 miles an hour. It looked like one of the position players coming out there and trying to strike somebody out.
Yeah, it's like Rizzo coming out there.
With him. I got nervous. That was my thought. I'm like, did he just hurt his arm? What's going on? It was 54 miles an hour.
I was actually really, I hate to say it because it's supporting a Cardinals player, but I was actually really impressed by Goldschmidt because you could tell that he, as the pitch is coming, he's like starts to swing and then he stops and then goes. So he recognized just how slow it was that fast. we see a lot whenever the position players come out there and they obviously throw so much slower.
Yeah.
That like that's kind of how some position players, Anthony Rizzo, can go out there and just have a 1-2-3 random inning. And so like the fact that he just kind of waited on it, not a position player, an actual like Shota Imanaga out there to wait on it. I was actually kind of impressed, even though like what more does that guy need to do to impress me considering he's really good?
It is impressive. That's hard to do. It was kind of almost like a Manny Ramirez hitch in his swing where he had adjusted halfway through.
Before the game was the news on Alzolay. We were just talking about it. We were trying to say, has his season individually for a player been maybe the most disappointing one on the Cubs this season, because what they were counting on for him. And my point was, well, you could say it about a lot of guys. A lot of guys have had disappointing seasons. His seems to be linked, obviously, to injury if he's going to have surgery now. A, how disappointed are the Cubs in this? And B, my question is this the same forearm strain that he had at the end of last season? Because if so, then this has lingered at a very long time, and that sounds like a lot of people made some bad decisions if that's the case, because he was cruising along, 22 of 25 saves, and then none after the end of, late in August, and he only makes 5 more starts because of a forearm strain. And we really never saw the same guy again. Like this season, right out of the gate, he struggled. So is it possible this is the same forearm strain that he had at the end of last season?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. We were not given that like specific information, whether or not it's like the same injury that just hasn't quite gone away. But it does. I mean, if that is the case, that's certainly something that you'd want to go back and look at and say, well, why wasn't this handled differently? Because it feels very obviously like this surgery that it ends up needing now maybe should have had back in November or something like that. But what they told us was he knows for sure he's going to have surgery. He's back here in Chicago. The plan is to get a second opinion just about like the details of the surgery, what exactly they want to do, not a second opinion about whether or not to get surgery. He is for sure going to have surgery. And they said that early next week we should know a little more specifically like what's going to happen, time frame, stuff like that. So his season is most certainly over. I think the question is what effect this might have on 2025, whether he's able to come back, when he might be able to, and of course, what kind of pitcher he's going to be.
His career has just been one injury after another, right? Like going back to when he was a starter, it was just he could not stay healthy. And it seemed like every time he would take 2 steps forward, there'd be something to knock him back. And I feel bad for him. He's obviously one of the most popular guys in the clubhouse. His teammates love him. A lot of the fans love him. So it's just tough to watch a guy. It's why you got to pile up the arms.
Yeah.
You see it all the time. Like he has had tons of promise. And I know people haven't been happy with the results this year as a closer or even last year at the end of the season a closer. But if you look before that, he was a reliable piece of the bullpen. And so I can see why the Cubs wanted to count on him, but I can also see now why they want to keep stockpiling arms.
Yeah. It is very interesting that like the timeline of all of this. I know some people don't agree with me, but there's the role that he plays on this team and with how many saves they've blown. It's like, even if he had blown some, I think if he's healthy, you probably don't blow as many as you have, and you probably are right in the thick of the wild card race at least. And so, right. Whether I should put blame on him or the Cubs, I'm putting some blame on both sides, because it feels like he kept something away from the Cubs, and then also the Cubs just...
If it's the same injury.
Right. And as far as the Cubs, like there's plenty of evidence that shows that they like try to play, like walk this line.
They tightrope guys. They let guys tell them, and Dansby probably shouldn't have been on the field for a while.
Yeah.
Nico probably shouldn't have been on the field for a while. Bellinger went back out there with a cracked rib and played a little bit before he came out of the game.
Right. And he even struggled too. Like,
and I'm not saying that's the trainers or the team. It's a group thing. Like everybody's got to be honest. Maybe it's not the same forearm strain. Maybe it's not, okay?
Right.
But if it is, then you got yourself a problem.
Yeah, and that's the part of it. I think the part of this equation that I think we forget sometimes is the player has input in this as well. The player is giving them feedback and telling them how he feels and those kinds of things, and they're basing some of their decisions on what the player is telling them. And these are competitive guys who don't want to be on the injured list. They don't want to be off the field, and so, and maybe not even like purposely trying to be deceitful or something. They may convince themselves, you know what, I'm okay. It's okay. It's not as bad or something like that. So that's a big part of this too, where Alzolay may have just genuinely felt like he was going to be all right, especially with an off season of rest, and then came into this season and just, it took a little while to realize like, no, I've got a problem here. So I think, like I said, we'll know a lot more detail early next week, it sounds like, as far as what exactly is wrong and what they're going to do about it. And then you could start thinking about Alzolay in 2025 and how that's going to look.
Fetty against...
Is it the ass man tomorrow?
I think it's the ass man tomorrow. Yeah, he's got to pitch better and longer into the game.
He pitched well in his last start.
Fetty pitched very well against the Cubs already once.
Yeah, and don't get me started about that trade. That is the worst trade of the entire trade deadline. Like the White Sox, bunch of morons running that organization, man. But whatever. Also, Fetty just looks like the most Cardinal out there. Like you look at the standard photo of Eric Fetty on MLB.com, and you can't tell me that guy wasn't born to be a St. Louis Cardinal. I'm afraid. Admittedly, I'm afraid.
Well, yeah, I mean, he has had a fantastic season with the White Sox. Won, 6 games and a team that only has 27 wins. So he's a good pitcher having a very good season. So tomorrow will be interesting. And I'm sure Cubs fans don't want to hear this, but because he was on the White Sox, that meant I got a lot of opportunities to talk to him. And he's a good guy. He's an easy one to want to root for because the comeback, pitched in Korea for a year. All the Cubs fans are like, shut up, Jared, enough of this. But no, it'll be interesting to see because it's his first start with St. Louis. And you never know. He's having a great season, but things change when you go to a new team. So we'll see what happens.
I hope Contreras catches him. All right.
Speaking of the ass man, Ryan had Skyline Chili today, and we're not sure how it went on his drive home. But it's possible that Ryan's new nickname will be the ass man based on how that chili lunch went. We just don't know.
I got to give Ryan some props. I saw him this afternoon. He made it out to Wrigley for a little bit of the pregame stuff, and he was going strong. He was fine. So, that's credit to Ryan. He handled that Skyline Chili with no problem.
Well, his car may tell a different story, but we're not sure about that, and don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
A while after he got out of the car.
I wish you wouldn't have told us. That way he would have told us that he did it, and then me and Luke just would have not believed him because he wouldn't have had any proof. But now that you've said it, now we have to give him credit. And I have to give him too much credit. He always has to be the voice of reason.
Jared, have you ever had it, the Skyline Chili?
You know what? I never have. But if I were to try it, I would not try it under the circumstances that Ryan did. Not before I'm about to be trapped in a car for 5 hours. You got to have an escape plan just in case.
Yeah.
And so, I don't trust it.
He was in the car by himself. At least he wasn't getting on like a Southwest Airlines flight in boarding group C. You know what I mean?
He's going to smoke everybody out. Yeah, you can't have that.
I don't know. Chili on top of spaghetti. And there's so much cheese on top. It just doesn't look right. Tucker Barnhart told he didn't like it.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't like it. He said, no, I can't say.
Maybe the real question for Ryan is how he feels tomorrow.
That's a good point.
Hey, but let's check in with Ryan tomorrow and see where he's at.
Let's get a little 90-degree heat in him and see how he's feeling out there.
Yeah.
I might get
all I know is I'm going to feel really good no matter what when I go to sleep tonight. So we haven't had a lot of nights like this, Jared. I said at the beginning of the show that I will go to sleep as delusional as I've ever been this entire season.
Got to do it. There's no
for one night, I get to be delusional for one night. All right. Win tomorrow and win Saturday. I'm asking to win the series, and then maybe I'll get even more delusional. But Baby steps.
All right. Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it. Go light up your cigar. People go to his Twitter handle because Jared will show you exactly what cigar he's going to be smoking. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for helping us out tonight, filling in for Ryan, even though Ryan apparently did make it back from Cincinnati after having his Skyline chili. Before we go, Cody, though, I do want to mention that we have the big golf outing coming up, and we got to get those signups for Cog Hill. That's going to be a lot of fun. We just had the Cookout Classic. This is the Kickoff Classic, second annual. Joey and I played it last year. It was a lot of fun. The lunch afterwards was great. We had, I don't know what they're having this year, but we had fajitas and tacos and pasta and cookies and everything. It was a great lunch, and afterwards, it's a beautiful golf course. And the key is, if you're a diehard, 20% off. So this is where you start to make the diehard membership worthwhile.
And it's presented by Circa Sports, Coors Light, Shady Rays, and Seltz Up.
Seltz Up, baby.
So Coors Light and Seltz Up being there, I mean, maybe
there's some good giveaways. There's some good giveaways. Yeah. You get 18 holes and a cart, tee gifts for every player, limited edition CHGO Pins and Aces golf polo will be available for purchase there. Lunch, drinks, ceremony afterwards, hang out with your favorite CHGO personalities or me, and sponsorship opportunities are available. allchgo.com/events to sign up. They got a lot of fun stuff. We do like longest drive, closest to the pin, longest putt. The last place team also gets some sort of prize.
Maybe I'll play this time. I went to the Cookout Classic, but I just kind of hung around, and me and Big Dave rode the golf cart around.
You guys looked like you had a pretty good time.
We did. And the lunch was pretty good, And
it was fun.
I helped Emma and Sarah do their jobs. Credit to me.
I believe the St. Andrews course and Cog Hill are owned by the same individual, but I'm not totally sure about that. Anyways, Cubs, big comeback win. They beat the Cardinals. They walk them off in the rain at Wrigley. Tauchman, Dansby Swanson, Nico Horner, Cody Bellinger, they all come back and contribute. Cody's getting a little delusional. He may dream about it tonight, and then he'll be there for the Friday 120 Club at Murphy's tomorrow.
They win tomorrow. They win Saturday. I might be all in on the Motorola logo.
Undefeated.
I might
Motorola. We should have done a poll. Do you love it, like it, hate it? Next show.
Because people will be talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
I will say this before we get out of here real quick. The absolute
Excuse me.
The reaction was pretty hilarious to me on social media. I'll just leave it at that.
I don't really care. I'd say the logo's maybe a little bit big, but it doesn't bother me.
They should have put a CHGO logo.
They've never lost to the Cardinals with that logo.
That's true. Undefeated in the Motorola era.
Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. We will have the Friday 120 Club tomorrow. Then
10 a.m. Murphy's.
Corey, of course, and Brendan have the Sunday show after they sweep the Birds. Until then, thanks for watching. Fly the W.